Arnold Schwarzenegger, bodybuilder, actor, filmmaker, director, politician, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and legend. Arnold was born July 30th, 1947 in Thal, Austria. Growing up, he loved sports. He was mainly into soccer, and it was actually a soccer coach who at age 14 noticed Arnold to be really scrawny and advised him to start lifting weights. Now, Arnold took the advice, started lifting weights. He loved the way it made him feel, loved the way it made him look, and he gave up the rest of the sports and dedicated his life to bodybuilding. And in his own words, he wanted to be the greatest bodybuilder of all times. Now, at 18 years old, Arnold had to spend a mandatory one-year stint in the military, which he did spend, and it was at that time that he entered his first competition and actually snuck off the military base and went into another country, competed, and won the Junior Mr. Europe. And since he won the trophy, they let him go ahead and work out the rest of the time he was in the military, but he still had to do his duties. And he got out, and at 20 years old in 1967, he won the Amateur Mr. Universe, and then again in 1968. It was at that time that Joe Weider noticed him and offered an opportunity to come to America when he was 21 years old in 1968 to train for the Pro Mr. Universe. He won the Pro Mr. Universe in 1968, 69, and 70. And in 1969, he also competed in the Olympia against Serge Olivier, who was a two-time winner at that point. And he went on to lose to Serge Olivier in 1969 and took second place. At the same time, the next year, he got the opportunity to star in his first movie. It was called Hercules in New York. And in Hercules in New York, they did not use his original voice, his actual voice. They dubbed over it because they didn't think he could speak good enough English. They thought it would sound weird. But a lot of the actual movies you watch nowadays, they have his actual voice in it. I've actually not heard one that had the dub voice on it, but that's what I'd always read. So after 1970, after Hercules in New York, he started entering the Olympia competitions and won from 1970 until 75. So 6 in a row he won. That was a record at the time. And he was his biggest in 1974. And as you can see in these pictures, he has a lot of mass on him in 1974. And along with all this mass, his personal records for how much weight he could lift: his squat was 545 pounds, his record. His bench press was 520 pounds, and his deadlift was 710 pounds. Now, one of the reasons that he lost a lot of this mass for the 1975 Olympia is because he had the opportunity to star in another movie, which was Stay Hungry, that had Sally Field and Jeff Bridges in it. Now, it wasn't a very big movie as far as in the box office being success-wise, but he had the opportunity to work with really big actors that would help move his acting career along. And he had to get down to 209 pounds to play this part because the director said he didn't want no massively bulking person in here. So it gave him 2 weeks to get prepared to gain the weight back for the 75 Olympia, which he typically weighed 235 on stage. So he didn't come in quite as full in 75. And at the same time, he was filming the Pumping Iron documentary, where it showed the camaraderie between him and Lou Ferrigno, Ken Waller, and a lot of the other bodybuilders of that time. And Pumping Iron was a huge success. It brought a lot of people and a lot of limelight to the bodybuilding world, who up until that point, they were kind of revered as freaks, I guess you could say. Now, following the 1975 success of Pumping Iron and the 6th consecutive Mr. Olympia win, Arnold did go into retirement. He stayed quiet for a few years, did a few TV cameos, things of that nature, and in 1980, he came out of retirement, declared he was going to go for the Mr. Olympia. At 8 weeks out, he started training, and there was a little bit of, well, there was probably a lot of controversy in that particular Mr. Olympia. But Arnold Schwarzenegger did go on to clinch his 7th Mr. Olympia in 1980. So the last 7 Olympias that he was in, he was undefeated. Now, it was up in 1982, 2 years later, that his big film break came. It was a part made perfect for him, and in his own words, John Milius said, "If we didn't have an Arnold Schwarzenegger, we'd have to build one." And that was the part of Conan the Barbarian. He followed that part up with the huge blockbuster in James Cameron films, The Terminator, where he was a cyborg, and honestly, nobody, I don't think, could act like Arnold did in those movies. I think it was awesome. He definitely seemed like a cyborg. After the success of Terminator, he went on making more action flicks. One of the big ones he made was Commando, where he stayed in stellar shape, and he just brought that aura to the screen that really had not been shown before. And he followed that up with Red Heat, where he was a Russian directive or intelligence officer. And after Red Heat, 1987 was one of the awesomest movies in my opinion, but it was the movie Predator. And in Predator, it really opened up what Arnold could do. The cast was really good. It really showcased his muscles. It showcased his abilities to be an action star, and I think it really set the stage for his ultimate action star career. And then he did the exact opposite, and he went into Ivan Reitman comedy Twins, which was another huge success. So he had the action part, now he has the comedy part, and showed his diversity as an actor. Later he became the President's Council on Physical Fitness, the president of it under George Bush, and he did that from 1990 to 92. After doing that, he filmed 1991, The Terminator 2, which was the sequel and his largest box office success to date. It grossed $580 million worldwide, 204 domestic, which was in 91 a huge amount of money. He went on later, one of his last really good movies was True Lies. That was a huge box office success. And after True Lies, his body started, he started getting older, so it wasn't as big as it used to be. So he started doing different parts and decided to change his career path, and he went into politics. And in 2003, he was elected governor of California. He served 2 terms. He served till 2011 in the governorship of California. And after he served as governor of California, one of the coolest things Arnold did, in my opinion, is he gave a commencement speech at the University of Southern California, and it was called The Rules of Success. And he's given us a couple other occasions, but it really breaks down, how he became what he is and who he is, and it says it in a way that is, you can digest it yourself and make a lot of sense to it and really motivate and inspire you. And that's what a true legend does. He motivates, he inspires, he makes big dreamers, and he truly is larger than life. And I hope you guys like this video. If you guys like this video, please share, subscribe, like. If you have anybody you want me to make a legend video about, please put it in the comments section below. And as always, guys, remember, legends never die.